Life in Uruguay is peace. The cost of living is affordable. As a single woman, I feel I have agency over my life.
Wow.
I choose to live in Old City because I love the historical aspect of the neighborhood. La Paloma is magic. Before I moved here, I wish I'd known that salsa dancing is not a very popular dance here.
What do you dance instead?
I still go salsa dancing. There is a place here in the South neighborhood that I can go dance salsa. But the other thing is cumbia, of course. The biggest difference between my life before and now, I would say, is freedom.
This kitty is Rivka. She will break in and steal the show. Why did you move to Uruguay?
So I've always wanted to live abroad since I was young. And I didn't know that was really a possibility for me until I was older. So I wanted to go to a Spanish-speaking country, and a friend of mine told me a lot about Uruguay and the people of Uruguay. So I thought, let's check it out. So I ended up doing a lot of research and eventually ended up taking a week vacation to find out if I liked it, and I fell in love. Exploratory trip, which is totally important.
Yeah.
And I realized I fell in love within the first day, and that was it.
Wow.
Yes.
And when was that?
That was 2016 in October. It was a little bit cold, and I stayed in Colonia for a little while to see like how it was to actually be like in more of the countryside or more of a less populated space, to see how life kind of was. And I just absolutely fell in love with it.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
But you ended up back in Montevideo.
I ended up back in Montevideo because, of course, it's more practical, right? To find work, to know more people, to kind of have more to do. So ultimately, Montevideo was the place that I ended up settling, yes.
Cool. You and I talked about this because you know that I normally recommend that when somebody comes to Uruguay, that they've got a job lined up before they come. And you didn't do that.
No, I did not do that.
All right. So, and lots of people are looking at doing the same thing. So let's get a bit of perspective for them.
So when I moved here, it was 2017. So things were a lot different. You know, remote work was not near as vast and available as it is now. So I quit my job and I came here and started looking online. LinkedIn was a very good source for me to find work, and actually was how I ended up finding my first job. And it was actually in person, actually at an office, and it was also a nearshore in Chicago. So it was a software development firm. So I ended up working there. And then as I've been here over the years, LinkedIn has continued to be a really great source. But more than LinkedIn was the connections I made with local people who would tell me, hey, this is something that is up your alley, or just making connection with local people that needed the service that I was offering. And I want to say that the industry that you serve is also very important to kind of look into, because
tell us
you
a bit
want
about
to, so remote work, of course, is not going to work for all industries. But if you're in industries such as digital marketing, or if you are in accounting or finance, HR, or for example, recruiting, software development, those are really great industries that if you assess your skills, maybe you can kind of pivot into to find work in which you would have a higher salary. And you have now third-party businesses that actually advocate for professionals in LATAM to work for American companies to get a better, more fair salary. So now you have kind of these other options. They're like recruiting, staffing augmentation type companies that can be your advocate. So you kind of like join, give them all the information, and they will like call you or ask you, are you interested? They'll pass, you know, your information to the client, and they will see if you're a fit for interviews. That has been how it's been working for me in the last few years, and it's been really great. So I think the biggest thing, if you are coming without a job, is to get on LinkedIn, start looking at what's available, start connecting with people who are local to LATAM, and start getting to know the businesses that are here and places that also nearshore here, because we have a lot of U.S. companies that also nearshore in the U.S. and vice versa. So I think those are really important, I think, steps to take, and just reassessing your skills. Like, go use ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, this is what I do. How can my skills translate to a remote working position, and how can I leverage that? I got my degree in finance, so I actually was working at a bank, and I was a real estate agent before I came here. And so when I started looking, of course, I started looking at banks. I started looking at, working in different type of financial sectors. But I couldn't really find anything at that time. So I ended up going, the job I ended up getting was as a business development representative. So I ended up kind of going into sales and marketing. And that was then the pivot. So after that job was over, I really loved writing. And I always wanted to find a way to actually make a career writing. And that's kind of when the door opened. COVID kind of opened the door for remote work. And then my writing career kind of just started from there. And so now I've pivoted to being, in finance, to now being in writing and marketing now. And that has really served me well. There's a lot of options in terms of growth in your career, how you can climb, better access to higher salary, and just a little bit more stability there. At least for what I do and within digital marketing, in LATAM, you can normally get between 1,500 USD to 5,000 USD per month. That will, of course, depend on your skills and your experience, and of course, also depends on working for a U.S. company or a U.S. client, versus maybe working for a client in LATAM. And for some people, they may say, well, that's just not a lot of money. That's not a big salary. But here, for me at least, that is plenty of money. Even at 3 to 5, is plenty of money for me to live.
That's a lot of money in
and
Uruguay.
Save money to be able to live. So even if you're not getting that average income that you expect in the U.S., you still have the ability to make a decent enough salary to live very nicely. Because the local salaries are very much smaller in comparison to that. And when you are able to get that higher salary, even at $1,500 to $2,000 a month, you can really live comfortably and save and kind of build like a nest egg to make sure that you're more stable, and that you can be able to, just enjoy your life more.
Now, I don't know if you want to share this, but you have had a few periods that you've been out of work that were significant amounts of
absolutely.
time, right? That worried me for you. That worried me. So can we put a bit of because it sounds really positive right now what you're saying,
yes.
but it hasn't been all.
Oh, it's super important to understand this too, because finding a job in general is very difficult, especially in Uruguay if you're looking for remote work. But it's good when you get the job, but when you lose the job, you don't know how long you're going to be without. My first job, I was let go and I was unemployed for an entire year.
Jeez.
An entire calendar year, and then COVID happened. And luckily, my career kind of started because of COVID, because they needed more English-speaking writers, and because remote work opened up. That was a really trying time, and it's scary because you build your life abroad. I've been here for many years, and the threat of losing a job is the threat of having to pack up and tuck tail and go back home. If you don't have a good nest egg in terms of savings, or you don't have any, other financial support, that is a really big, serious consideration when you move abroad. That a loss of a job can absolutely be life-changing, and you don't know how long you'll be unemployed. Recently, I lost my job in November of last year, and I was unemployed for 5 months. And for example, just to let people know, I applied for over 120 jobs.
Wow.
All of which I was at least 70 to 80% qualified for. And I got 6 to 10 interviews in that time. And it is very difficult, especially now. I think in general, it's difficult for those with experience everywhere. But it just be prepared that might be something that you encounter. So build a savings, have a good savings, and just live below your means and be modest as you approach working.
So, finally get to ask you about Spanish. All right. So, tell me, has it been difficult to learn Spanish? How are you managing?
So I learned Spanish when I was in high school, actually. I took 3 years. Of course, it's a different kind of Spanish, but it was really a great base for me. So I wasn't starting from ground zero. And I think that the most difficult part came to the bureaucracy, getting my documents together, getting understanding the important things like medical and your health. Those things, it was a struggle. Not so much anymore. But the people that I ended up kind of meeting and becoming my community, they actually spoke English decently well. So we had that nice interchange of language with each other. So I kind of hijacked it by having English-speaking friends in a way.
It's the problem. Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm coming along a lot better now. It has been a struggle, and I think it's really a subjective thing too, because we all learn at different paces. Sometimes you just get nervous, and you kind of, as you say, get in your own way of trying to like really grasp the concept of Spanish. And I think it's absolutely okay if you have to take your time, or if you're struggling, like don't feel the pressure to have to be fluent within a year or two or
because
whatever.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And I don't believe in fluency. Like I truly will never be completely 100% fluent in Spanish. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I think it depends on the age as well as the individual, right?
Absolutely.
The age that you start at as well.
Yes.
I think often a lot of people think that they're going to come to a foreign country and they're going to be fluent within a year. And, you know...
No.
I think you'd have to be particularly talented.
Yes, and you would have to really funnel in a lot of time and dedication to that, because the other half that people don't think about when speaking Spanish, you think, oh, I'm immersed, so it should come easy. But there's a lot of mental power and mental, extraness you need to be able to do that. And if you're trying to funnel just figuring out what grocery store you're going to go to and figuring out what your landlord said to you yesterday in a text message, and you have to find a job, your mind may not necessarily be able to be 100% focused on, learning Spanish. But the most important part is to practice and learn, and it's all about just being able to communicate with people.
Yes.
Communication is it. It doesn't matter as long as people get you. If
Nobody's
people get
checking that you've used the correct tense. No.
As long as you can communicate with your community and those around you, that's the most important part.
Absolutely, yes. I'm totally, absolutely. That's brilliant. You mentioned the difficulty of, you said paperwork with not speaking Spanish. You've got your residency, I assume. So how was that, doing it by yourself?
Oh, goodness. I had to lean, again, on my community very much. Can you help me translate this website? What is it asking for? To book my appointment. I had a couple friends go with me to the immigration office to help me translate, because there's nobody there that's going to speak English for you. There's nobody there that speaks English, so just be prepared to have someone come with you, and you will maybe have to do that several times throughout your process of immigration. And also, like, sometimes I would email them because it's easier, the written form word can be easier than talking to somebody. So I was luckily able to lean on community and friends, and after a while, I was able to do some things on my own. Like, I just renewed my residency and I did it all on my own. And I understood everything. So it was great. So it just takes some time, and just know that's going to be a very kind of a sore, hard spot there. So if you can get yourself a translator, someone willing to go with you, it's going to make it a lot easier for you.
Or hire somebody
to do it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
If hiring sounds exactly what you need, I've got a tip for you. Relocation specialist Sierra Atlantica. They make getting residency, opening a bank account, choosing healthcare providers, schools, so much easier than doing it alone. Uruguay readers who have used them have rated them an almost perfect 10 out of 10, and they have a 4.9 out of 5 on Google reviews. So that's Sierra Atlantica, www.sa.uy.
I've got two questions I want to ask. One is about speaking Spanish. The other one, though, and I think it's probably more pertinent to ask you right now, is regarding being single, right?
Yes.
Because you're the sole breadwinner.
No one's coming to save you.
Right, exactly.
There's a bit of pressure there, but at the same time, there's a lot of freedom as well, because you can control your finances. You can control where you live, how much you need to live. You can control what you spend on, and you don't have to worry about anybody but yourself, which is, I think, if you do move abroad and you only have to worry about yourself, it's great, because you maybe can be in certain circumstances that maybe are less than ideal for a person in a different situation. So I'm able to have, like, my 1-bedroom apartment, for example, it's about $480 a month. And it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, and it's just very cozy. There's, my neighbors are great. And I think in total, my fixed expenses, that's the rent, the common expenses, the phone, the internet, and the door tab. And then the common expenses is also like water and things like that. I think those fixed costs total come in at about $620 per month.
And is that, you said that it's how much? $450 for your apartment?
$480 a month for my apartment.
Obviously, it depends on your neighborhood. So tell us a little bit about your neighborhood.
Yes. So I live in Ciudad Vieja, and it's one of the places that have lower rents, at least within the metropolitan city of Montevideo. Because when you go out of Montevideo, you have more space, your rent is a little less, and you have more space. So I'm in Ciudad Vieja, and I really, really love it. It's actually very quiet, and it's not hugely populated. It's really one of the places where the tourists come and go off the boat.
Tiandra and I are neighbors.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
So it's the historic neighborhood. And you, as a woman living by yourself, you feel comfortable in the neighborhood? I feel
very comfortable, yes. I've lived only in Ciudad Vieja, only in Old City for this whole time. So my neighbors know who I am. They know my face. So it's just very nice. I feel very comfortable. Sometimes I walk back at night. Also, it's where all the buses are. I can get anywhere in this
public
city.
Transport, especially from here.
And it's like, even if I come in at 11 o'clock at night, the bus is dropping me 2 blocks away from my house. So even still, I don't have to, walk very far in the dark to get home. So I feel very safe and comfortable. I love that it is quiet. Like after 7 o'clock, there's like nobody in the streets. It's really quiet.
And a lot of people think that that's like, ooh, that's scary, right? But no, we're like, yeah, it's quiet.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy my neighborhood. And personally, I wouldn't choose another neighborhood. That's just for me. I love being in the historical district of a place. And I connect with Ciudad Vieja, so I really love it there.
Amazing. Before we talk about Spanish,
yes.
Now I want to ask you about how easy it was for you to make friends and build community here.
For me, it was actually very easy. I just, through work, I found a lot of friends, and it kind of branched off from there. And sometimes you meet people at the grocery store, at the street, or in the street. I met someone at the office of I want to say the Spanish word, but I can't remember.
I've told him not to use the Spanish words so that an international audience will understand. What's the word?
Escribano.
Oh, yeah, like a notary.
The notary, yes. I met friends at a notary.
You made a friend at a notary's office?
Yes. I heard them speaking English, and so sometimes you just kind of go about your way, and I was like, no, but that's a friend I can make. So then I was like, hey, you want to exchange, numbers? And so we became friends. So even in that way, or standing in line waiting for something at a bar. So making friends and community has really been a huge, important part of me living here. I feel like that's why I feel so very at home here. And I know that as a single person living here, I have the people to surround me with that I am taken care of. And I think that's another important thing to say. As a person who may be single moving here, make sure to build community and friends, because you're going to need them. When I lost my job and things looked bleak, my community really came through for me. and it really makes all the difference in your experience living abroad.
Yeah, totally. What do you do for a social life? Can I ask?
Yes, of course. So thanks to the community and all of the wonderful friends I've made here, I have quite an active social life, but I also like to spend time in my apartment as well. So on a typical day, I'm working remotely at home, of course, but also I have a lot of friends who work remotely as well. So we do a lot of getting together to co-work together. So I socialize a lot in that way. We do a lot of co-working and all of those things. And then I really like to go to live shows. I have a few of my favorite bands that I've local bands that I like to go and see.
Oh, name check them.
Hermanos Laser, and another one is Balta. He's an R&B singer that I absolutely enjoy. I love his sound. And he's very young and coming here in Uruguay, and so those are a couple bands, indie and then R&B. This is like give you an idea of my tastes in music. But I love going to live shows. Coffee hopping is a huge thing here. We've done that a lot together, and we've done some art things together. Going to art shows. I love going to the ballet, and I feel like Montevideo is the perfect place if you are creative or you're an artist or you enjoy the arts. There's tons of that to see here, tons of it. And I feel like you can never get bored if that's your scene. There's always something good to do.
And it's super affordable, right?
That too, yes. Like I think for a couple of dollars, sometimes you can even go see a ballet. They reserve a certain amount of tickets that are, more cost effective for people, and you can go see, the Nutcracker, and it's on Christmas Day, which is great, which I really love. So those are some things I love to do. And then outside of like my social life and bar hopping and things like that, I really enjoy to travel. So Uruguay is great to travel to the small coastal towns and just kind of get some fresh air, get some nature. So that's my second like social thing. I like to go and travel with friends and explore new places in Uruguay.
Amazing. All right then. So I was just at a conference now where there was a panel for people of color looking to move abroad from the US. Yeah. We know that Uruguay has 11% of the population is Afro-Uruguayan or Afrodescendientes, as people are called here. And you dive deeply talking about being a Black woman living abroad in Uruguay in a really great podcast.
Yes.
Flourish in the Foreign. We're going to put details in the description for you. But, I mean, I've got you here. I have to ask, in a nutshell, what's your experience been like?
My experience overall has been quite positive. I feel that I'm just able to be myself, and that my color is not necessarily impeding me to be able to do that, or making things extra difficult as they would be being stateside. And I just am able to have a certain type of peace here that I feel like I'm not able to have stateside. So I feel if you are a person who just wants to be you and just be your unique self, this is the great place for that. Great place for that.
Cool. All right. And so people need to go and listen to the full podcast. Okay. So moving on, I'm sure that there have been a lot of things that surprised you about Uruguay, despite the fact that you did lots of research. What would you say surprised you for good the most?
This is just a very peaceful place to be on a day-to-day basis. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of noise either. Like the city is a quiet city in comparison to other cities. You don't hear sirens all the time. You don't hear much going on. So I think the peace and tranquility of it is like the best part for me so far.
Conversely, because we always want to know what bad side, what would for you kind of surprise you negatively?
That would be the winter.
You don't say.
The winters here were a surprise, not because I didn't know it would be cold, because I knew it would be cold. It's the type of cold that we have here. With the humidity, it is colder than I feel like I've experienced. And I'm from Illinois, but I'm not from the Chicagoland area, so like I'm not used to blizzards and really a lot of snow. So for me, this is quite cold. And being next to the river, I live on a peninsula. Old City is on a peninsula. So all that wind and all of the humidity is even more so. So the winters were definitely something that surprised me here for the bad.
Right, I hear you. Do you have any remedies?
Remedies, yes. Pack, if you're gonna pack and bring things with you, bring good winter clothes. Bring good winter clothes, bring good thermals, bring a great winter coat, because that will definitely serve you. I just bought an electric blanket, which has been awesome. It is just the best.
Everybody in Uruguay loves
Everybody.
our electric
That's how you survive, and lots of wine and hot cocoa and just a lot of tea and latte.
Right. Before we finish, if you were to give one piece of advice to a solo woman coming to Uruguay, what would it be?
It would be come and see Uruguay and see how you feel about it. But before then, even get very clear on what your needs are. Like, what can you and can't you live without? Because it's easier to figure those things out and find a place than to find a place and try to fit those things into it. So I would say definitely understand yourself, what you need, and definitely do an exploratory trip and listen to how your body feels and your spirit feels when you're here. And I think you'll know.
Tiandra, you're the best. That was amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.